Most of my routes kept me pretty close to home. Regional hauls, nothing really cross-country, nothing that has me chasing a sunrise in some different time zone. Honestly, I prefer it that way. I like knowing where I will end up, knowing the roads, and knowing the places to pull off if I need to. This particular run was supposed to be easy, a shipment sneaking through Georgia down a winding stretch of two-lane roads. It looked like it had been there since the Civil War. The pavement was cracked and faded, lines barely visible in some spots. Just a ghost of old paint trying to tell me where I shouldn't be. Trees were pressing in on both sides, their branches clawing up at the sky. The hills rolled in slow, sloping waves, making the drive feel like I was riding some kind of ancient breathing thing. It was beautiful though, in the backcountry way that it can be. Untouched, lonely, full of all kinds of weird shit, but a damn pain to get a rig through. My hands were tight up the wheel, working the turns carefully, watching the trees blur past me. My trailer grown behind, loaded just enough to make each bend feel like a fight. The road twisted, dipped low into pockets of thick shadows where the sunlight could not even reach. The further I went, the more I felt it, the sensation that I was being swallowed up by the land itself, disappearing mile by mile into some kind of forgotten place. I was tired when the sun started dipping below the treetops, bleeding purple into the sky. I knew I needed to find a place to pull off. No way in hell was I pushing through these curves in the dark. Lucky for me though, I found a turnout just as I was thinking about it. This wide gravel patch on the side of the road, just enough space to park my truck without worrying about some idiot barreling directly into me. I eased in slowly, tires crunching over the loose rock, and parked with the nose angled just slightly toward the road itself, a good view of anybody coming and a good chance to gun it if I needed to. Not that I was really expecting any trouble. I definitely slept in worse places, in sketchier states, but something about this stretch of road was just sitting wrong in my gut. But I quickly pushed that thought away. I was too tired to care. I climbed into the back of the cab, my little home away from home, popped open the cooler, and fished out a sandwich I'd thrown together at the last stop. Good enough. I ate in silence, scrolling on my phone, letting the hum of the night just settle in. No traffic, no voices, just the soft rustle of the leaves and the occasional chirr of something hidden in the dark. I will admit, not really spending my time in the best way, but hey, I'm only human. I doom scroll with the best of them. By the time I finished, my eyelids were super heavy. I stretched out in the bunk, shifted until my back stopped complaining, then let myself drift off. Just as I was about to slip under, the pressure in my bladder reminded me of something much more important. Needed to take a piss. I huffed, rolled off the bed, and reached for the door. And that is when I saw the headlights that were in my mirror, or rather, the lack of them. A car had pulled in behind me, engine running, with the lights off, just sitting there, watching. I did not move. I did not even breathe. I just sat there, half crouched in the dark of my cab, staring into the mirror with that car idling behind me. I was kind of confused. No headlights, no movement, just a low, steady run of an engine, barely even audible over the rustling of the trees and all the noise outside. Every instinct inside of me told me this was not good. If it was another trucker looking for a spot, they would have left their lights on, checked for space, and maybe even flashed their brights just to say hey. But that was not this. This was deliberate. This was creepy. I reached over, double-checked that my doors were in fact locked, snatched my baseball bat from where it sat next to my seat. My gun was still in the glove box, this little .22 that I barely ever used. It was far too small to stop a real threat, but at least it was something. I continued to wait, continued to watch. Maybe it's just some kid sneaking out to drink. Maybe some local couple looking for a place to fool around. I don't know. Maybe when you're in these situations, you come up with anything you don't want it to be. The creepy thing, the scary thing. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The car still had not moved. The unease in my gut twisted itself into something heavier now. My truck was dark, so there were no lights on, just a faint glow from my phone screen where I had locked it. As far as they knew, I was asleep, and maybe that's what they were waiting for. I shifted slow and quiet, pushing the curtain on my side window back just enough to peek through it. The car was a sedan, black or dark blue, hard to tell in that low of light. Also had tinted windows. I could not see inside. Then finally, out of nowhere, something changed. Their engine cut off, and the driver's door opened. Slowly, a man then stepped out. I barely even saw him, just this sliver of a silhouette in the rearview mirror before he moved out of sight, disappearing toward the passenger side of my truck. Seconds later, the other door opened. Another man. 2 of them. I swallowed hard, and my hand tightened around the bat. I just continued to listen. Footsteps, slow, careful, crunching on the gravel, circling me. I could hear their heavy breathing. One of them moved up to the driver's side, and the other tucked to the passenger side. A scrape of metal on metal. One of them was testing the handle. Locked. A pause. Then the other side. Another test. Another tug. Locked as well. I lay completely still, heart hammering. If I made a noise, they would know that I was awake. And if they knew I was awake, they might move faster. Might try to force the way in before I had any time to react. I needed to think. My gun was too far out of reach to grab without making any noise. My phone was in my pocket, but if I called 911, the dispatcher's voice would give me away easily. If I turned on my lights, they would know for sure that I was watching. And then I remembered something. My truck was parked on a slight incline. Not much, but enough. Enough that if I took the air brakes off and put it in neutral, I could roll. Not fast, but fast enough. They had parked directly behind me. My rear end would absolutely destroy the front end of their sedan. If they had any brains, they would have about 45 seconds to get their shit together and get the car out of the way. It would be fast enough to scare them, fast enough to give me an opening that I needed. So I moved, slowly, careful to not let the seat creak as I slid forward, reaching for the parking brake lever. Outside, the men still were not talking, just standing there, waiting, like they were mulling over what to do next. I had an awful feeling that the next step was just going to be to smash my window open with a rock or something else. I wrapped my fingers around that lever and took a deep breath. I pulled. The trucker gave a groan as the brakes released, and then it started to roll. I heard them react almost instantly. Sharp scuffling of feet on gravel, and then I heard somebody mutter "fuck" coming from one of them. Then a footstep scrambled backward, quick and frantically. The truck inched backwards, slow at first, then a little faster. I kept my foot on the brake, ready to stop before I actually hit them. I was not trying to kill anybody, just trying to make them run, make them move. It worked. They bolted. I saw them in the mirror, sprinting back to their car and throwing themselves inside. The engine quickly roared to life. Headlights flashed on, blinding me. I jammed my foot on the brake, stopping my roll. Then I did something stupid. I reached for the door handle and swung it open. I stepped down into the cool night air, bat gripped tightly in one hand. I had options inside for self-defense, hence why I was not really that nervous. Even if they got inside, I was going to give them a run for their money. The 2 men were sitting in the car, watching. They were not kids, and they were not drunk locals. They were grown-ass men, skinny and tall, wearing masks. These cheap, Halloween store kind of masks. One with a grinning skull, the other with a plain white face. The driver raised a hand and flipped me off. Then they threw the car in reverse and spun around in the gravel, tearing off down the road, picking up dust and loose rock as they went. I just stood there, breathing hard, watching their taillights fade off into the distance. Whatever I just dodged, it felt rehearsed, something these clowns had definitely done before. I went back inside and locked everything up, sat in the driver's seat, ripped the wheel until my knuckles went white. For obvious reasons, I did not sleep very well that night. I just sat there, watching and waiting until the sky started to turn pale with the morning light. Wanted to see if they would come back, and they didn't. I pulled out of that area as soon as the first light of dawn touched the tops of the trees. My body was still buzzing from a mix of exhaustion and leftover adrenaline. I had not slept. I had not eaten. I had not even taken a piss since the whole thing started. I just sat there waiting, eyes darting between the mirrors, expecting those bastards to come back at any second. I did not check my trailer, did not check the ground for footprints, did not do anything but get the hell out of there. The road was empty as I drove. Just me and the endless stretch of pine trees lining that 2-lane highway. No sign of the car, no headlights in any mirror, but that did not mean they weren't out there somewhere. 25 miles later, I hit a town. Just this little backcountry place with a gas station, a diner, and not much else. I pulled in and parked and finally let myself breathe a little bit. I climbed out and stretched my aching limbs, then went inside and asked to use a phone. The old guy behind the counter raised an eyebrow, but then slid it across to me. The sheriff's department picked up on the second ring, and I told him everything. The road, the car, the 2 guys, the masks. Told them about those slow footsteps in the gravel, the way they tried my doors, and the way they ran off when I let my truck roll. The deputy on the other end of the line was quiet for a brief moment, and then he sighed. "Yeah," he said. "We've had reports of those fuckers before." "The who?" He cleared his throat. "Couple of fuckers who've been doing this for a while now, causing all sorts of trouble. Mostly just theft, but a few folks have had run-ins, just like you. Few people have gone missing. They like to target truckers who stop overnight. Figure they can get inside, grab what they can, be gone before anybody wakes up. Maybe even empty your trailer too. And if they can grab you and take you, they do." I swallowed and my throat went dry. And what if I hadn't have woken up? Another pause. Can't really say. Definitely would have been robbed, but you might not be here talking to me right now. That still stuck with me. I thanked him and hung up, and just stood there for a while, staring at the wall, listening to the hum of the cooler behind me. Eventually, I asked for a coffee, sat down in a booth, and forced myself to eat something. By the time I got back on the road, the sun was fully up, burning away the last of the mist that clung to the trees. The rational part of me knew this was all over, knew those guys had taken off the second they saw I was not going to be an easy target, but I still continued to check my mirrors, scanning every car that passed by for the rest of that haul. I never stopped anywhere that was not busy. If a truck stop looked too empty, I kept driving. If I had to pull over, I parked right underneath the lights, as close to the building as possible, and every time I locked my doors, I would double check it, triple check it. My story takes place from years and years ago, and I have not seen that car since, and have not really had anything like that happen ever again. It was just near a small town, so I don't know how widespread it was, or if there was more than just those 2 guys involved. The sheriff seemed to be pretty familiar with what was going on, but why they weren't able to stop it, I have no fucking clue. And that does not mean I haven't stopped thinking about it. Because when you're out there alone on the road, surrounded by nothing but trees and darkness, you slowly start to realize something. You are literally just a dot on the map, a little blip of light in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes people are watching that light, waiting for it to go out. And if the sheriff could not help any of these other people, what the fuck could have happened to me? How the fuck could anyone get to me before something bad happened? Sure, I had a gun on me, but I wager they probably had one too. They probably just could not be bothered to take the extra effort to actually get me. They probably could have killed me if they wanted to. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. Here is another one. Deployed to Afghanistan, 2009. Around Arghandab River / Panjwai. Lots of IEDs, lots of small TICs. Company gets asked to clamp down on Taliban freedom of movement. Platoon gets sent out to occupy Afghan compounds in a village known for producing IED material. Spread out, but mutually supporting in the event of someone getting overrun, etc. We go through with PSYOPs and their backpack loudspeakers and tell everyone to get the fuck out while we are conducing our operations. Streams of villagers getting out of Dodge. We have our pick of the houses and set up our little perimeter and wait for the Taliban to come to us. First night, no contact. Dawn of day 2, sporadic RPK fire from the woodline. Call in AH-67, 2 EKIA. Push out to begin clearing the village. We search houses all day and find tons of HMA and IED components. Worth mentioning that we swept all the paths we took with minesweepers and found a few pressure plate IEDs and blew them in place. So at the end of day 2, we walked back to our outposts without any concern. Secure perimeter on outside of village and total control inside city limits. Second night, sustained attack against another platoon. Strange thing is that some of the fire comes from inside the village where we had cleared during the day. Afghan army guys are freaking out about the Taliban. Terp tells us they think the Taliban are werewolves. No shit, werewolves. Third day, step off for more sweeps of the village, walking on the same path as day before. Guy steps on IED, loses leg from knee down. What the fuck? That shit was all cleared the day before. Day passes uneventfully. Night 3, sustained attack against my platoon, again from inside village. How the fuck are they getting past our perimeter? Afghans go on and on about how the Taliban are shape-shifting werewolves. Day 4, another IED, another casualty. Shit is starting to get weird. Inside one of the houses we cleared the day before, we find a dead goat. Violently shredded to bits, blood smeared everywhere. Gruesome as fuck. We step the fuck out and try to ignore that shit. Noonish. Weapons squad is set in, local support by fire. Second squad is searching the house next to my squad, and third squad is pulling it in a cordon. The rest of my company is set into their outposts, and a sister company is set in on the other side of the village. All of a sudden, movement. A grenade comes over the wall and explodes. Luckily no one is hurt. Shit hits the fan about 10 meters away from me. Somehow, a squad of Taliban had gotten right outside the courtyard that my squad was currently in. A vicious firefight ensues. Third squad engages in hand-to-hand combat. 2 soldiers wounded, 5 Taliban killed. Pull out and head back to our house on the perimeter. Another fucking IED, another WIA. That night, rolling attacks on all platoons all night long, from inside and outside the perimeter. The word comes down. We pull out at first light. The whole company assembles on a nearby hill and watches as these 3 500-pound bombs are dropped on the village. Load up on the trucks and roll out. All told, the company had 1 soldier die from his injuries on the medevac bird, and 5 more wounded. The Taliban lost an estimated about 20 to 30. I am still baffled about how they got in and out of our perimeter for days on end. We had optics, guards on post 24/7, and roaming patrols constantly. It was freaky to say the least, and generally a completely fucked situation. Yet another example of how pointless that dumb war is. Be me, forward observer in the US Army. 9 months into what turned into a 14-month deployment to Afghanistan. Out hunting some Taliban bomb maker fucker. Chase him and his buddies up a mountain. Gets dark before we can catch them now. Lay in on a downslope. I go make a hasty up 50 meters from the rest of the company and get comfy. Sun sets, no moon, low cloud cover. Darker than Satan's asshole, so can't see shit. Break out this $50,000 FLIR scope and slap it on my rifle. Start scanning my area and waiting to go get shot by a sniper. See something across the saddle and end up on the opposite hill, roughly 300 meters away. Man-shaped thing, stands out like a torch on infrared. Just standing there, not moving, obviously nowhere there. Call out possible contact and sniper team comes over. They see nothing through their night vision scopes. Call me a moron and leave. I look, and it's still fucking there on IR. Spend next hour watching each other. See more movement uphill. See a lot of movement uphill. Oh fuck me. It's fucking on. Bomb maker called his boys, and now they're assaulting our position. They run right fucking past the IR shape, not even acting like it's there. I lose track of it during the firefight, but pick the shape back up maybe an hour later. Starting to convince myself it's not actually there until it fucking moves. It starts walking the battlefield, slowly moving from body to body and heading in our direction. I go cold and my stomach drops out. Put sight on target, pull trigger, send bullet. Nothing fucking happens. Proceed to do controlled mag dump at 150 meters. Still nothing. I'm reloading when platoon sergeant stops me and asks what I'm shooting at. Give him rifle. Point. He sees nothing. Pulls me off the line for break. Never see the thing again. Sometimes I feel like it's out there, and I start to panic knowing I can't see it. I also wonder about what else is out there that I can't see. Be me, 23 years old, E4 in the army. First deployment all amped up to go do soldier shit. We fly through Germany, then into Bagram, Afghanistan. Boring as fuck spending a week getting everything set up for out-hop flights to our outstation assignments. Fly to Kabul, then to some tiny outpost in bumfuck nowhere in the mountains. Closest village is Azra. Tasked with maintaining patrols and security to ensure terrorist traffic from Pakistan is minimized. Limiting freedom of movement and shit, whatever. Patrol in the hot mountains, in thin-ass air, with 3-day assault packs and the squad. Day in, day out. Start hearing rumors of some kind of animals in the mountains, supposedly some kind of wildcats or some shit. Don't believe it. Fuck Afghan land. Shit's just a pile of godforsaken rocks. Eventually we switch to night shift and repeat. After a few months we have a firefight with some fuckers trying to get the drop on us in the middle of the night. Shit lasts for like 3 fucking hours. Trees and large rocks make it hard to see enemies, even with MVGs. Lots of yelling, shooting, and stress. Finally the shit stops. Think we finally got 'em all, so we check everyone to be sure nobody got hit, and did not realize it somehow. Think we got 'em all, so we check everyone to be sure nobody got hit, and we didn't realize it somehow. Everyone is good, so the squad stops security, and heads to make sure shit's actually cleared up. Radio into the outstanding, and let them know that we're really good, and what's our plan. We get the green light, and are told to check in every hour to give spot reps till we've verified security. As we got closer, we start to hear death rattle of a select few who haven't quite died yet, but are on their last few breaths. Identify and secure. No weapons. Fuckers are non-threat, etc. We begin to pull security on our position as we think we've got all the enemies identified and secured. That's when our DM notices a blood trail leading up the mountain, away from the group of bodies. Lots of disturbed rocks and earth. Lots of blood, and I mean a fucking lot. We split into 2 teams. One goes up the hill. Mine pulls security on the corpses. 20 minutes later we hear running. Shout out the challenge. Get a frantic out-of-breath scream of the password back 4 or 5 times in a row. Let's call them Johnson and Smith. They are fucking covered in blood. There's no way it's theirs, but the rest of their team is gone, and so are their weapons. We start drilling them, and trying to get Smith to stop stuttering. Johnson is not saying shit, just staring blankly into the distance, mumbling something about cats. We're trying to figure out what the fuck happened. RTO is already on it, and calling back to the outstanding request, we get somebody to put some fucking eyes on the AO, predict feed or something. We need to know what the fuck they ran into. Outstation says they're working on it, says they're sending out another squad to assist. Says it's gonna be at least 2 hours, because no way are we getting a vehicle near us. Terrain is too shitty. Finally, Smith stops stuttering and just starts screaming. One of the other guys slaps a hand over his mouth, can still hear him screaming through his nose. Johnson gets loud enough and stops muttering so we can hear him. Apparently they were following the blood trail and came up on a pile of dismembered bodies. They were busy being mind-fucked at the site when Johnson and Smith noticed the rest of their team was gone. They ready up their weapons and start trying to locate their team, whisper yelling through their teeth and shit. Out of nowhere, they get knocked over by the torso and leg of one of their team members, look to their left where it came from, and see this big-ass cat-like thing dismembering another guy from the team, several other bodies next to it. The fucking thing has these huge human-like hands with short-hooked claws. They panic and just bolt. Smith says, "Fuck, where's my weapon?" Dude did not even realize he lost it till just then. Second squad shows up after a while. We head out to where the carnage is supposed to be. Nobody can find a thing save for Smith's weapon and the ACH of one of the now MIA team members and what looks to be torn up earth. Like how dry dirt gets after a dog marks its territory, then scratches the ground. The next few weeks were weird as fuck. We never found the bodies. Never saw this cat thing Smith and Johnson talked about. Never found any of the missing weapons. Nothing. The only trace was their debrief, their blood-soaked uniforms, and the ACH from one of the MIA guys. Sometimes I wonder if it was all in our heads, like some sort of mass hallucination, that we saw something just too fucked up and could not process it or some shit, and replaced it with a monster. I hope I never know. If it's any worse than that, I never want to know what really happened. B Army Guy, Afghanistan, at Bagram, Parwan, Providence, BME 2013. Working base security for a tour. Having to drive around base, responding to shots fired, IEDs going off. Weird-ass people walking around in restricted areas close to base. Few nights after a major attack on the base, over 700 dead, 3 ISAF men dead. Weird shit starts happening around the time the major attack happened. Our motion sensors, ground lasers, and other base defenses start malfunctioning. Constant alert saying that our inner fence lines have been compromised. Almost every night this shit happens around 0200. One night, as we were scanning our outer fence line with night vision, see 7 of them just sitting there by our exterior fence line. They are just standing there, looking straight at us, like they see us and know we are there. It's fucking dark. We aren't emitting light, and we know for 100% sure they cannot see us. But he gets the fucking creeps. Wants to alert CO. They are way in the designated shoot zone. Lethal force is authorized where they are. Grab my thermal camera. Scan the area. No fucking people are standing out there. This is flat terrain. No holes, craters, or divots. Not even fucking rocks. There is a solid mile that is cleared out, and they were way past that mile. See the blued silhouettes of 5 more of them. Max creep, I about shit myself. I think I did piss myself. Hand over thermal to buddy. He's so fucking creeped out, and he about cries. I'm back on night vision. Only see 1. Okay, what the fuck, man? Watching this fucking ghost. He is eyeing my fucking soul. I blink, and the fucking ghost is charging straight for us. I yell open fire, and my buddy racks his 240 and sprays the fucking area and unloads a 300 round belt. CO comes out. CO yells at us, asking why the fuck we were firing. Tell CO about the whole fucking thing. Me and buddy are visually rocked the fuck up. CO laughs at us. Laughs. Me and buddy have the most fucked up, mixed look ever. Tells us, so you guys seen that shit too, blah blah blah. You're not the only one who saw that shit. What? CO said this place is haunted as shit. Tells us there's been more than 2,000 confirmed kills here. Tells us not to tell the rest of the PLT for morale purposes. Training incident. Tell 3 other trusted dudes. 1 dude on night patrol. Same thing happens to him. Don't go to Afghanistan. The place is fucking haunted. 2 combat tours, and I've seen some unexplained shit happen. Same guy. Another story from my best friend. had told me about it one drunken night. B Army guy, B 2014, at Camp Bastion at Center of Operation, preparing for a night village raid, which was very uncommon. I'm talking about finding a 4-leaf clover in a patch of dirt. CO briefs us on our objectives. Search and destroy. Supposed to sneak into the villages and find weapons and IEDs. Blow up said buildings hiding the various items. Night raids almost never happen. I mean, we're not special forces. This was very weird. CO tells the briefies that this is top secret and considered need to know. Everyone is weirded out by now. Leave tomorrow that night. We have 3 people who worked for the alphabet soup. He couldn't remember who they worked for accompanying us. They carried these biosuits, what you see in those zombie movies. Fast forward to the next night. Everyone getting psyched. Hellman Providence is like the meat grinder. Guys die way too much out there. Get orders that the raid is changed a bit. A bit. Half the teams will separate out. His team was to go into the farm side of the town. Other team took main center. Have these black suits riding with us. Not the typical black suits. They knew how to handle weapons. Didn't flinch when the 50s vibrated the Humvee. Fast forward 2 hours. Team starts pulling into the villages. We had a big spotlight on our front of the Humvees. Suits order them to turn the spotlight on. They ignore them. Typical I don't take orders from you. After a few minutes of arguing, they turn it on. Round a corner wall. 4 enemies standing outside of a little metal building, size of a hut. They give the gunner a very weird look. Suit tells the gunner to open fire. Can't unless we're being shot at. They start running towards the 3 Humvees. They have that meth head look to them. Gunner opens fire. Red everywhere. A few seconds later, 6 enemies run out of the shack, shaking their hands in the air. They have this weird-ass look in their eyes too. They charge the first Humvee. They start to punch the ballistic glass and actually leave indents in the shit. The second Humvee opens fire. The Sioux order everyone to stay in the vehicles. Suits and his squad get out of the Humvee. Suits put on their biosuits or whatever they are. As standard procedure, we must check the dead for intel. They tell them that they must not go near the bodies or the blood or bad things will happen. Bad things. Then they told them that they'll take care of them after they're through here. They follow them to the metal hut. Suit tells them they need to stay outside because something bad is inside. Fast forward 30 minutes into it. They come out with some shit in biohazard bags. They then tell them to throw some Comp 4 and some incendiary grenades. One of his squad mates walks in through the door. He yells holy shit. The squad peers inside. They see what appears to be either a really fancy meth lab or a biological weapons lab. They get the chills and they blow the lab to the ground. Suits check the squad mates with those blue flashlights. Everyone clears inspection. 2 of the suits drag all the bodies that we smoked into a pile. They ask us to throw some of the Humvee gas and burn them quick. They burn the bodies. Suits take off gear and throw it on the top of the burning pile. Suits mutter that it's not good to be around this area for much longer. Op is called off and they were to return to base ASAP. The suits debrief them, saying that it was a meth lab of some sort. Everyone in the company is in fear for the rest of the deployment. TLDR, my buddy's company either destroyed a meth lab or a chemical weapons lab on the down low and cannot legally speak about it. They violated multiple Geneva laws and did shady stuff.